To all learners of English. I'm sure you can progress in your journey of learning English by testing yourself constantly. Today there's a small passage which you will listen to. It is followed by questions based on factual evidence, that is, whatever facts are given in the story, and vocabulary. Both these you will have. You have to listen carefully, understand the passage, remember it, and of course repeat it. I will read the passage once at the normal speed, then I shall read it very slowly. When I'm reading it slowly the second time, you can use that passage for shadowing, repeating, so that you get the right intonation, pronunciation, everything. And then try to remember what you have read or what you have heard so that you can answer the questions. Let us first go to the passage. Captain Pavan came out of the bank. He was looking very pleased. He had found that he had more money in his account than he expected. He was a short man with a military moustache. His clothes were colorful. He was a cheerful man and unmarried. He walked fast when he came out on the street. The name of the street was Bank Street, as all the banks in the city were situated here. Inside the bank, it had been dark, but on the street, the sun was bright and shining. The street was very busy with people walking around, cars honking, and vendors selling their wares. There were oranges and bananas to be had, bath towels, combs, razor blades, all arranged on trays of different colors. Captain Pavan stopped to buy some oranges and a bath towel. It was 11 o'clock and he wanted to go home quickly. This is the passage, very short and very simple. Now I shall read it slowly after pausing at the end of each sentence. Captain Pavan came out of the bank. He was looking very pleased. He had found that he had more money in his account than he expected. He was a short man with a military moustache. His clothes were colorful. He was a cheerful man and unmarried. He walked fast when he came out on the street. The name of the street was Bank Street, as all the banks in the city were situated here. Inside the bank, it had been dark, but on the street, the sun was bright and shining. The street was very busy with people walking around, cars honking, and vendors selling their wares. There were oranges and bananas to be had, bath towels, combs, razor blades, all arranged on trays of different colors. Captain Pavan stopped to buy some oranges and a bath towel. It was 11 o'clock and he wanted to go home quickly. Now that is the passage which you have heard. Let us move on to the questions. Question number 1 to question number 5 tests your listening, understanding and remembering capacity. They are based on facts which are given in the passage. First question. The passage says that Captain Pavan looked, you have to choose one word out of these 4. Pleased, angry, sad, excited. Here is the answer to question number 1. The passage says that Captain Pavan looked pleased. Angry, sad and excited are not the correct answers. The answer is pleased. The second question. Captain Pavan's clothes were, you have to find the correct word according to the passage. White, brown, black, colorful. The answer for the second one is colorful. Captain Pavan's clothes were colorful. Not white, brown or black, but colorful is the right answer. Let us now look at question number 3. Here there are 2 blanks. Captain Pavan walked, first blank, and came, second blank. In the first blank you need to fill a word and in the second blank a phrase. The choices given are like this. Fast in the first blank, to the bank in the second blank. Second choice, fast in the first blank, out on the street in the second blank. Third choice, slowly in the first blank, to the bank in the second blank. Choice number 4, slowly in the first blank, out on the street in the second blank. Here is the answer to the third question. Captain Pavan walked fast and came out
on the street. The second answer is correct. First blank, you have to put the word fast, and in the second blank, out on the street. Now we have question number 4. The street was, there's a blank, you have to fill it using one of the 4 choices. Very busy, empty, dark, very far. The answer to question number 4 is the street was very busy. Not empty, dark or very far, but the first choice, very busy, is the correct one. Now we have question number 5. What is the contrast mentioned in the passage between the bank and the street? You have to find the contrast between the bank and the street. 4 choices are given here. One of them is correct. Inside the bank was bright and the street was shining. Inside the bank was dark and on the street the sun was bright and shining. Inside the bank was sunny and the street was dark. Inside the bank was busy and the street was empty. For question number 5, the answer is the second choice. What is the contrast mentioned in the passage between the bank and the street? The contrast is, inside the bank it was dark and on the street the sun was bright and shining. That is the correct answer, not the other 3. After completing the first 5 questions based on facts, now we come to the next 5. Question number 6 to 10 are vocabulary based questions. Again, you have multiple choice, that is MCQ, multiple choice questions. 4 choices are given, of which one is correct. Look at the 6th one. Choose the meaning of the underlined word. All the banks were situated there. The word underlined is situated. 4 choices are given. Located, stood, stayed, and sitting. Here is the answer to number 6. You had to choose the meaning of the word situated, which is underlined. The meaning is located. Situated, located, same meaning. They are synonyms of each other. Here is number 7. Replace the underlined, one word is underlined, without changing the meaning of the sentence. Again, you have to give the meaning. He wanted to go home quickly. Quickly is underlined. The 4 choices are now, sooner, fast, and immediately. Here is the answer to question number 7. The underlined quickly can be replaced without changing the meaning as fast. He wanted to go home fast, quickly. Now and sooner and immediately are not the correct answers. Let us look at the next one, number 8. What is the antonym of pleased? 4 choices are given: unpleased, displeased, mispleased, and impleased. Here is the answer, number 8. What is the antonym of pleased? The antonym of pleased is displeased. Not unpleased, not mispleased, not impleased, but displeased. Here we have number 9. Give another word for unmarried. Unmarried is used in the passage. 4 choices are given: single, alone, lonely, and nobody. The correct answer for number 9 is single. Another word for unmarried is single. The other 3 choices, alone, lonely, nobody, are not correct. The only correct form is single. Now we come to the last of the vocabulary questions. Number 10. In the passage, cars honking. This is what is used in the passage. Cars honking can be replaced by 4 choices are given: cars going at great speed, cars making a noise, cars stopping, cars blowing the horn. Now you can see the answer to question number 10. In the passage, cars honking can be replaced by cars blowing their horn. Cars going at great speed, making a noise, or stopping are not correct. Cars blowing their horn we call cars honking. Now we come to a last 5 questions. Question number 11 to 15. Once more, they are factual questions. They see how much you have understood and remembered of the passage which you listened to. Look at the question carefully and answer in complete sentences. One complete sentence should be the answer for each question. You cannot answer in a single word and you cannot answer in a phrase. It should be a complete sentence, but it should not be 3-4 sentences. It should only be one sentence. The first one, that is number 11. Where had Captain Pavan gone? Here you have the answer. Captain Pavan had gone to the bank. Had gone remains the same. Captain Pavan moves to the front, and where answer comes at the end, to the bank. That is how you have to write complete sentence. Next comes question number 12. Why did Captain Pavan look pleased? The answer to question number 11 is quite long, but it is a single sentence. Captain Pavan looked pleased because he found that he had more money in the bank than he expected. That is what the passage told us. Why? The answer is because. So you cannot say because he found. That much if you say, it's not enough. The entire thing has to be said. Captain Pavan did look becomes looked. That is ED form. Pleased remains as it is. Captain Pavan looked pleased. Now you're giving the reason. Why? Always give reason. Because he found that he had more money in the bank than he expected. Let's now see the question number 13. Can you describe Captain Pavan's appearance? If you remember the passage, you will easily get the answer. Captain Pavan was a short man with a military moustache. Can you describe Captain Pavan's appearance? So you have two descriptions. One is his height was short and he has a military moustache. So these two descriptions you can give. In the 14th question we are asked, what kind of person was Captain Pavan? So some quality of his must have been described in the passage. Try to remember. What kind of person was Captain Pavan? Now you read the answer to the 14th question. Captain Pavan was a cheerful person. This is how he is described. He said cheerful man. So here the question is person. So we say Captain Pavan was a cheerful person. Number 15 is the last of our questions for today's exercise. Why was the street called Bank Street? Again, the question why requires a reason. So we use because. The street was called Bank Street because there were many banks on the street. That is the answer. Why was the street called Bank Street? So the street was called Bank Street remains as it is. Now the why gets you a response because there were many banks on the street. That brings us to the end of the questions today.
I hope you were able to answer all the 15 which I have given, but you might find that the passage has many more points which I did not cover in the questions. So now you can frame your own questions and answer them. If you had problems in answering or remembering, please listen to the video again. If you had problems in repeating the sentences, please repeat it 3-4 times. This is the way in which, if you read, your English becomes better. Because I have shown you how to write full sentences and I have shown you how also to identify vocabulary points. Do exercises like this to improve your English. All the best and thank you.